Welcome to Amazing Business Radio with best-selling author and customer service and business expert, Shep Hyken. Shep will talk with some of the smartest thinkers in business to help make you more successful in your professional and personal life. This is Amazing Business Radio with Shep Hyken.
Hello, everybody. It's Shep Hyken here. We're back with another episode of Amazing Business Radio. We have a great interview today. A gentleman that has been here before. He is an author. He is a customer service expert. He is a professional speaker that travels around the world. I've worked with him many times, and he has just written a new book titled Ridiculously Easy to Do Business With, which is an incredible strategy. Now, before we get into the interview, a couple of quick announcements. If you've got a story that you would like to share, or if you have a question that you'd like to ask, please reach out to me on any of the social channels. I am pretty much everywhere. If it's a story, I may share it in my newsletter. If it's a question, I may answer it there. I may answer it in my newsletter. I may answer it in this podcast or on my TV show, Be Amazing or Go Home, which can be found on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Prime. And if you just go to YouTube, or you just type in even better than that, just type in beamazing.tv. That's beamazing.tv. All right, let's jump into the interview with David Avrin. David, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It's great.
I should say welcome to the show again.
Yes.
Because, you know, and you've been here for at least one, if not two books, maybe even more. How many books have you written?
You know what? It's kind of silly. My people I grew up with were like, wait, Dave Avrin wrote a book? I'm like, who knew? I wrote seven total. This is my fifth business book, and I'm excited about it. I think, don't we all feel this? I mean, every time you come out with a new book, don't you feel like this is sort of the culmination of what you've learned, and then the next one is sort of that again,
the culmination plus.
Yeah,
and
plus.
Now your books have evolved because you were known for marketing primarily. And even though I will argue with anybody, and I don't have to argue with you because you and I are in agreement with this, that CX, customer experience, and customer service is marketing. It's one of the top strategies. You deliver the experience customers want, they come back. It's that simple. And isn't that what marketing is? It's getting them to be interested in you, but then getting them to come back. And word of mouth referrals is a result of happy
all the above
customers.
Yeah, for me, it was a big shift. So you knew me early in my career. We've known each other for 20 plus years. I spent a lot of my years speaking about marketing and branding. How do we better describe what we do? How do we differentiate ourselves in a competitive marketplace? And I saw a significant shift, and it wasn't that I was chasing whatever was new. I came to recognize that much of my teaching and my sharing and my work as a speaker and a consultant was less effective because we had changed, because the market had changed, and the drivers for choices for vendors and suppliers and others as well was changing. And it became far less important what we say about ourselves, not unimportant, but less important. And we saw the shift 7-8 years ago towards that social proof. And the reality is what people say about us today is more impactful than what we say about ourselves. And so that's what began my work and my research into what led to my first book within the category, which is Why Customers Leave and How to Win Them Back. And we ended up in 6 different languages, but it really helped me embark on a whole new path of why customers are choosing what they choose and why. Why did they choose to share information or not? You know, we all grew up in business understanding what we used to call guest relations philosophy, right? We've all heard it before. The average person with a positive experience tells 2 or 3 people, and somebody with a negative experience tells 10 or whatever that is. Everybody's heard it. None of it's true anymore. Today we tell thousands.
Yeah, the social media help you out. By the way, for those that missed the first big nugget of this show, it came about 2 minutes ago. I wanted to say, stop, repeat that. And that was, and I want you to say it again, because I'm not going to be able to articulate it quite as concisely as you said, but you said what people are saying about you is more important than what you say about yourself. Rephrase that for me.
Well, I think it's just that. It's that we have found that what's more impactful in terms of the choices that we make. We're all customers, right? We're all customers or clients. We're patients. We're constituents. And so when we look at what the drivers are for the choices that we make, provided there's a fairly consistent level of quality and people are fairly price competitive. And we're going to see that in most categories. Even if you're premium within a category, as long as you're in line with other premiums, then it's not about price. You can either afford it or they can't, right? And so what we're finding is that the we're really risk averse. We don't have to gravitate towards a particular choice. I mean, unless you're in Disneyland, you're pretty much a captive and you have to buy whatever food they have. Our choices are vast. And so it's back to that old adage that there's a mistaken belief that we're looking to make the best decision possible in purchasing or hiring or contracting. We're really looking to avoid making a bad decision. When we're looking for those choices today, whether it's food items or retail or B2B, we look, what does the marketplace say, right? We're not going to go to a movie generally.
But get concise with me now. I'm looking
Okay.
for that one sentence. That's what I want to hear.
So here's the one sentence is that we want to make the best choice. And so we look to see what others have to say about it. We go to Rotten Tomatoes to find out what the consensus is on a movie, right? Doesn't mean it's the complete, the complete driver for as well.
We go to review sites, Yelp and TripAdvisor
right,
and
Rotten Tomatoes, all the above.
And by the way, there are forums in every industry, even B2B, where your customers, whatever you call them, customers, clients, et cetera, are talking about you.
Yeah.
And it may not be a formal review site with an app like a TripAdvisor or a Yelp, but it is a place, or Rotten Tomatoes, it's a place where people talk. And I cannot articulate it because you said it so quickly, but basically what people say about you is of the utmost importance, is what
it's a primary driver today for choice.
All right, so let's talk about convenience. So,
yes.
Oh, by the way, the books, your first books were marketing. Was the first customer service book that you did, or a customer experience book, was it the one that you just mentioned?
Yeah, it was the Why Customers Leave.
Why Customers Leave. So this is number 2 in the category.
Well, I didn't during the pandemic. I don't use the C word. I had a year-long video series that I still have that I offer called the Morning Huddle, the Customer Experience Advantage Morning Huddle. And I realized that the copy in that, the lessons in that, the messages and stories lent itself very well to a book. So I had a book called the Morning Huddle, and that's been out there. But my whole shift has really been to focus on that whole idea of where is friction in the process?
Yep.
What are the points of frustration for us that drives us away, right? That says this one's ridiculously easy or not. So that's the new book. And behind me,
it's called Ridiculously Easy to Do Business With. You can hold it up, but nobody's seeing it because this is an audio interview.
It's all okay. There you go. And I have a good suit on, and my hair is good today.
I know you look fantastic. I know you're not wearing shoes.
No, I'm not, but it's
so anyway, the subtitle, by the way, is a practical guide to giving customers what they want, how, and when they want it. So let's go do a little history lesson right now. You may or may not know this. You probably do. Are you familiar with Matt Dixon?
I am, sure.
Great. So Matt, to my knowledge, wrote the very first book about eliminating friction called The Frictionless Experience. However, what Matt did is he focused on one area, and that was the contact center.
Sure.
When you call, it should be easy to fix your problem. It should be easy to get your question answered. All right. So I looked at that and I said, there's something that's missing, and that's the entire rest of the interactions that customers have. Because in the perfect world, they're never going to have to call for help or support. What about the rest of it? And hence I wrote the book.
The first book on that. Absolutely. You did.
Yeah, The Convenience Revolution. And I've seen other people write about the friction and frictionless, etc. I love your books because you write, and we talked about this right before we started the interview. You write like I write. We write like we talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we have to turn it over to an editor to clean it up because what we say is not typically grammatically correct.
Yeah, a lot of contractions. Yeah,
exactly.
Sure. But no, I thought your book was very much that. I thought it was seminal in the industry for starting that conversation. But I think it's so important that we continue the conversation.
Yeah.
Because how we do business is different. You bring up the example of the call center. Even that's so much different. I have such a heart for people who are working in call centers and the frontline representatives because of how much things have changed. And that frontline gatekeeper now is oftentimes AI. It's a chatbot or something else. And by the time we are able to reach that real person, people are at a 12 on a scale from 1 to 10. The fury that they are in are being
on their anger level. Yeah.
And these poor people, like the first time they talk to them, people are already furious because somebody's shouting profanity into the phone just to get the AI to recognize they need to talk to a real person. And so, yeah, I think it's just an important conversation to have. In my books, and this one in particular, is I wrote it for people in business to recognize people, hardworking people who are doing what they think is right, and what they feel is right, and it's best for their employees and their customers. Help to identify some points of friction that maybe they weren't quite aware of.
Yep.
And the way you want to do business, the way that makes sense that we've always done business, oftentimes is frustrating today because
And we're going to get into some of those points of friction.
Sure.
I want to share a few stats that are important. And I know you shared this in your speech. This year, 2024, as this is being recorded in 2024, and we've been doing this survey for years, and we ask some of the same questions year after year. 62% said it convenient, in other words, hassle-free, without friction, ridiculously easy to do. Oh, that's a good title of a book.
It is insane.
Yeah, that experience is more important than even friendly customer service. Think about that. I'm not going to treat you poorly and make you and mistreat you as a customer, but if I can make it easy. So here's some other things. We ask to rank in order what's important. People not being friendly, great service, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Number one is convenience year after year. And this year, 94% of the thousands of customers that we have interviewed said or surveyed, 94% said convenience is important. 70% say that they're willing to pay more if the experience is more convenient.
Yep.
And 70% also say that the convenient experience alone makes them come back to the brand. Do you see there's a theme to all of this?
100%.
And to your point about recommendations and what other people are saying, 87% are likely to recommend the brand if it provides a convenient experience. So now that we've got the science and the data out of the way, proving that your book is valid and people should buy it and read it, and they should go buy it right now. Okay.
Listen, I appreciate it, but I think your research is lending to the conversation, and it's helping to bolster, I think, all of us who are out there as ambassadors for this message to help organizations recognize the importance of this. If you know this, you've been doing this for a long time. When we talk to leaders, we ask them, what do you think your competitive advantage is? It's always some version of quality, commitment, caring, trust. It's about our people, right? Well, what is the research? It showed exactly what you showed, which is that we're prioritizing convenience and speed and simplicity of process. I love your statistic, whether it's 63, 62% that say that a convenient experience is more important than a friendly one. I think what it really speaks to is the fact that friendly is nice. I mean, I like friendly. I don't really care, but friendly is great. Don't waste my time. Don't be friendly and waste my time. Don't be friendly
but
and say no.
Yeah. So given
right?
the choice, obviously, people more likely are going to be, I want the easier, convenient, hassle-free.
Yeah, don't give me scripted empathy. Give me scripted empathy and then waste my time.
Yeah. I'm really sorry it took so long. So when we come back, you're going to give us tips straight out of the book. We're not going to talk about theory and concept anymore. I want to know exactly what's in the book. 4 or 5 of the best tips. And it's a great book. You've got lots of great chapters. How many chapters are there? There's 27. I only want you to give me 4 or 5 ideas. Don't go away. We're coming back in just a moment. We're talking with David Avrin, who is the author of Ridiculously Easy to Do Business With, an amazing book. Don't go away. We're coming right back. And maybe on the break, if you don't want to listen to the commercial, go to Amazon, buy the book. One of my favorite sayings is that customer service isn't a department. It's a philosophy. And it's a philosophy that must be embraced by everyone in the organization all the time, and that's 24/7. So if customer service is important to you, and I know it is, then you will love our virtual training, the ultimate on-demand customer service and experience training program that you can access anytime, anywhere. Now, the course content applies to everyone, regardless of position and responsibility, from senior executives to the most recently hired and everyone in between. You'll discover tips, ideas, and strategies that won't cost your company a fortune, but will produce what I call moments of magic, those positive experiences, and it will happen at every level of your organization. So go to Customer Service VT. That's V as in virtual, T as in training. That's customerservicevt.com. It's time to get customer focused.
You're listening to Amazing Business Radio with best-selling author and customer service and business expert, Shep Hyken.
We're back on Amazing Business Radio. We're talking with David Avrin, and we are talking about ridiculously easy to do business with. David's latest book. Such a good book. I said to buy it. Don't listen to the commercial we just had. Go to Amazon and buy it. You could always pause and go buy it. All right. But now I want to jump into the actual book. We've been talking conceptually about how important convenience is. What I want to do now is dig into the book, and I want you to give me some of the tips so that we know what to expect. And there's a lot of them in here. There's a lot of good information. I would probably say, even though you have 17 or 18 chapters, 27 chapters, 27. I'll bet you there's more like 150 tips. Under promise, over deliver. Is that one? No, that was from another book. But here we go. So just share with me, like, first thing that comes to mind. Give me a ridiculously easy idea to implement in my business.
Sure. And I'm going to give you some stuff that maybe you hadn't thought about before. One of the chapters, aside from the ones that you would actually expect, ridiculously easy to resolve issues and to reach a real person. And we talk about specific tips. I've got some other ones that you might not have thought about. I have one of them about being ridiculously easy to see. And most people don't recognize that. I think studies show that a big portion of the revenue generated is for people from age 50 or 60 and over. Yet most marketing collateral, business cards, menus, and others are designed by people in their 30s and 40s. We don't think about the fact that the rest of us need reading glasses. And
How old are you, David? You don't look that old.
I'm 60.
You didn't have to say.
I can say it. But you go to a restaurant today and they're like, just scan the QR code. I'm like, can I get a real menu? I say, we don't have them. They've created a point of friction. It's easier for them because they can update the menu, but there's a significant portion of their population that makes it difficult. So there's a tip right there is look at your business with fresh eyes, literally, and how user-friendly are you to those who might not have reading glasses with it. Is the text too small? Things like that. One of the other ones, I have a chapter about being ridiculously easy to remember what you're paying for. And the scenario that brought all of that up is I worked with a company who saw me speak, and they brought me in to work with them. And they did landscaping, pest control. They had about 25% attrition year over year, people who literally didn't finish out their contract. And they were stymied because they were doing everything right, everything they promised. But they were so good and they were so fast that the customers rarely saw them. And they're getting these bills and they're like, what am I even paying for? Why am I even doing this? And so one of the tips was that there's nothing wrong with getting credit for doing good work. Remind your customers what you do for them. Send a year-end review. Over the past year, we had this many visits. We did this many things. You were safeguarded against all of these pests or whatever those are. And brag a little bit, boast, remind them what it is they're getting, remind them what they're paying for, and don't make them wonder and worry about whether or not they're getting their money's worth. I have another one talk about being ridiculously easy to agree to a contract. We work out something great with an agreement. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. And then they slide over the contract, and the contract, whether virtually or otherwise, is like 40 pages long.
That drives me crazy. I tell my clients, I'm going to jump in. And I got
to please.
It drives me crazy. I tell them, you're hiring me to talk about convenience and customer experience, and we come to an agreement. And my one-page agreement that I send you, which is who, what, when, where, and why, and we agree, you're going to pay me if I do the work, right? That's it. And the attorneys send me back 17 pages of small type and how I'm going to have to give them my second born child if I whatever. And to your point, it's like, what does it really take to make it easy?
Right. And you don't have to account for every possible scenario.
Yeah. And most likely the things that are in that contract, I say, it says I have to be insured to go on site. I'm not going on site. I'm going to a hotel.
I'm not lifting anything.
Yeah, I'm not lifting anything. Right. So all the things they want me to indemnify them. I get it. I agree to indemnification. Anyway, go ahead. Give us another one. That was a good one.
Oh,
I've got a couple of favorites in here.
Well, let me throw one more in there then. Mm-hmm. This one's universal. Is if you're offering somebody a free trial, make it a free trial. To require credit card information, you're creating friction. You're creating this trepidation because people know it's like, well, it's a free trial, but if you have to give them, they're going to charge your card. If you don't cancel within 18 days and they know you're going to forget to cancel, they're going to renew it every year. And you're like, I didn't even know I had this subscription. We're seeing people like going through realizing that they're paying for apps they didn't know. I understand why they do it. I just think it's a little sleazy. Because they know that they count on the fact that most people aren't going to actually use it. But if you're going to offer a free trial, and there's studies that show that people who don't require credit card information actually convert more prospects. And I put the statistic in the book about that as well. Once again, make it ridiculously easy for your customer. Or give me a couple of your ideas or the things that stood out to you.
Talking about that. Well, I think I'm going to go out of your book in a moment, but I just want to tell you one. Gated information. In other words, you've got to give me your email address in order, for example, my research report. Do I just say download it here, or do I say give me your email address? Well, here's the thing. I'm going to give you so much free stuff that if you want the whole report, then you're going to have to at least give me your email address. So
a reasonable quid pro quo. That's reasonable. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if I think I'm tied to you financially for something that was touted as free, I rather not even. That's where you get all those abandoned processes, right?
Yep.
People who are in the middle of signing up, and that's the subscription version of the abandoned shopping cart.
So here's one I like. Make it easy to see the price.
Yes.
Right up front.
Yeah.
I should be able to spot it because, by the way, it's like that's when I see this. I'm going to read about it. Show me the price and then prove to me through your writing that the price is worth it.
But here's the thing is I give credit to business. Nobody's trying to, in most cases, trying to fool them. I don't think I'm smarter than the people in the back room of the big companies. But the reality is their whole mindset, which is we're going to take them down the rabbit hole. We're going to justify it. And by the time they see the price, they'll be okay with it. But the reality is I told a story about my wife and I. We were looking at mountain property and cabins, and it said, click here for the price. And you click there, and of course you didn't get the price. What you got was a contact form. And they're just doing a bait and switch because they want to have a conversation and then they can explain it. And there's too many variables. Well, the reality is don't promise the price if you aren't going to deliver it. You go to that little box outside a house that's for sale and you see the beautiful picture of the house and you have to call for the price. I know why they're doing it. They're trying to, if we can have a conversation, I might be able to redirect if you can't afford it. We just don't want to play that game anymore.
Yep.
Show us the price. Let us make a decision.
Make it be ridiculously easy to reach. This is a big one. This is one of the stats that we know that customers will not do business with companies that make it hard to find the phone number, hard to find the contact information.
Well, and more than that, we get very, very frustrated. And I talk about this with audiences. It's an unfortunate dynamic because we're the ones screaming into the phone, real person, agent. I think you said no, right? But because by the time we reach a real person, we've gone from zero to furious in those 10 minutes. And I tell them, I say, here's it's tragic tactic, but just shout profanity, shout F-bombs into the phone and you'll get directed to a real person or type them into a chat bot because the AI recognizes that you're frustrated. We shouldn't have to go there to have that option. There are younger people who are very comfortable with digital options, and then there's older people who want the option. Give us choices. Give us choices.
Yeah. And by the way, I have stats that I'm looking up in my report right now about the number of people who have screamed. Here we go. 79% of customers have called customer support, gotten the automated menu system, and repeatedly screamed agent and representative, and eventually just hung up. And as far as 60% admit to just hanging up on the agent, but let's talk about this. You mentioned cussing. Oh, this is good. 34% admit to yelling and 21% admit to cussing at an agent. And by the way, that means approximately 79% are lying. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I yell profanity at the AI. I don't do it at the agents. As we've talked, I have a real heart for agents. I think they're unfortunately being put in a very difficult position. It's why the attrition rate is so high. It's 41% plus for that as well. And I would encourage anybody to give Shep your email address because you want to be in contact anyway. Download his report. Actually, from the last 3 years, they are exceptional. I have the most recent one in my briefcase, and I read it and I quote it, and I always give attribution, of course. But that's one of the things great about the CX community.
This isn't about me. This is
no,
about
it isn't.
You.
But I think having resources for all businesses, we're of the same mind that we're here to help. businesses be better, help them feed their families, serve their clients better. And I get great research from your reports.
Well,
Great
thank you.
to
Thank you very much. All
bolster
right.
my brilliant points in my book, Ridiculously Easy to Do Business With.
Well, I'm going to ask you to share one more brilliant point, either
Sure,
from the book or from your mind, but
sure.
as it applies to being ridiculously easy to do business with, the one final nugget of wisdom you want to share with us before the end of our interview.
Oh, I think that the final nugget of wisdom is that what you believe in general to be your competitive advantage, your quality, commitment, caring, trust people, that's table stakes today.
Yeah.
I heard a CEO say, at the end of the day, it's about quality. No, at the beginning of the day, it's about quality. Quality is the entry fee. Quality gives you permission to do business in the marketplace. But at the end of the day, it's about competitive advantage. And I think the competitive advantage today is the experience. And my whole niche in this about eliminating friction, I think the competitive advantage is in a marketplace replete with talent and great choices is being ridiculously easy to do business with.
Yep, I love it. And I would agree. That's why you wrote the book. That's why I wrote a book. And that's why our stats and facts on our consumer research prove that what we're talking about is valid, relevant. And again, the book.
And important.
Yeah, and important. And the book is Ridiculously Easy to Do Business With, available at Amazon. And I would highly suggest everybody go out and get it, read it.
I would as well. I would as well.
And I'll bet you would, if you bought it for all of your team and you said, each of you get to choose the top 3 convenience ideas in the book, that these would be implementable and easy to do, and you'd get buy-in from everybody. So
100%.
Don't just buy the book and read the book, just use the book. Use the book and turn the pages, write little notes. I love it. David, thank you again for being on the show. You're a repeat offender and we love having you. And I can't wait for your next book so I can bring you back.
I'm not ready to write another book.
Don't even say that now. And I've said that.
It's like when your wife has a baby and people say, are you ready to try for another one? It's like, don't even talk to me about that right now. We're going to focus on this. Thank you, friend. I really appreciate the time.
All right, David, thanks for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up. Another interview on Amazing Business Radio. We will be back next week, and I promise you we'll have another great guest. Until that time, this is Shep Hyken reminding you to always be amazing.